I've started the recording and we are now also live streaming.
Sit out on the porch and listen to that.
And I would like to make a motion to open the October 1st, 2020 New Paltz Town and Village Joint Board Meeting.
Second, David.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda. But Tim, do you want to, we don't have to call it, you have to call a village board meeting to order?
Sure. A motion to open the village portion of the joint meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So I guess please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second, Alex?
Discussion. So I'd like to add item 2G to the consent agenda. It's approval of a 30-day notification waiver for Novellis Catering liquor license. And I would like to add a name that we left off for the pool laborers to help close up the pool, Alex Demas, to be a laborer at the standard rate to work at the closing the pool. And that's it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Might need one more. David's muted.
I said aye.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna. Okay. Great.
Dan is muted right now.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. We have the announcements. Town offices will be closed in observance of the holiday on Monday, October 12th. And the reuse center will be closed Tuesday, the 13th. And with that, I would like to make a motion to open public input. So in order to keep background noise down, everyone, please mute yourself. People attending via video can raise your hand and we will call on you. If you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Each participant is asked to keep comments to 3 minutes so that everyone can have a chance to be heard. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to have their say. And so with that, I'd like to open it up if anyone has any comments they'd like to make. I need to send, can someone send Julie a link? Just needs a link for the meeting.
I did. I sent it.
Okay, great.
He's having trouble.
I can, we do this invite. A lot open on my computer. It's having a, there you go. So if anyone has their hands raised, give me a second and I will call on you. If not, oh, there Julie's coming in now. And so I don't see any hands raised. And, oh, here is one. So, yes, 8. Um, 455-947.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. This is Harper. I was just calling to let you know that neither the Zoom link nor the streaming services are working. I mean, I can listen in here and it's fine, but just so you know, neither of those links are working.
Yeah,
Okay.
Neil, it's the Zoom link that is in, the only Zoom link that is working is the one if you open the PDF, but the other Zoom link is the one I couldn't get in at first.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll make sure we check. I don't know what we can do now. If someone could check the streaming. It does say that we are streaming live. Zoom says we are, so I don't have a way of checking it, but we can look into that. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments? Okay. So the Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative, it's been requested that this be on the joint agenda as a standing item for the steering committee to report out. And I would like to invite someone from the steering committee. We have several members here, I think, if they would like to speak, please.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Essie Lewis. I am the spokesperson for the committee. So I'm just gonna give you guys a little rundown of what it is we've been working on. So the steering committee is preparing for a town hall, which we're going to have toward the end of October, to begin the process of engaging the community. And during this town hall, community members will have the opportunity to express their concerns and offer suggestions for improving the department. So again, that's a town hall we're trying to plan for the end of October. We have engaged the town, village, and public access committee to assist with disseminating information about our activities and meetings and etc. And of course, we will provide information in the form of press releases. We're also discussing live streaming our meetings with the public access team as well. So once we have had these town hall meetings, our next step is going to be to coordinate individual meetings with representatives from each of the stakeholder groups. We've received invites and emails for various functions, but we've declined them so that we can develop a coordinated approach toward the process and also give the newer members like myself the opportunity to get some background information and some history about the police department and their activities, budget, policies, and all those things. So that's what we've been working on. And this period of distance and learning is necessary so that we can enter the reform process objectively. We all want to get on the same page and understand what the police department is doing before we can reimagine where else we can go. Okay, and so as part of the continued learning, the steering committee members this month will observe and participate in the police department's firearms and defensive tactics training. That's all through the month of October. And then after this training, we're going to use that knowledge to review and recommend and offer our ideas on how those policies can be enhanced or changed. Last month, which was September, some of our members sat in on the department's monthly informational conversations that they hold at the picnic area by the post office. And we were also heard input on our activities. We will be requesting a budget to pay for a graduate research assistant who's going to formulate some statistical data to inform and to help inform us as to our recommendations. We were advised and we all agreed, and an assistant that we have approached agreed that $15 an hour was reasonable. So we're continuing to work with the department to determine the data that we want and need and how to obtain that data. During our weekly internal meetings, we review the police department's policies and procedures. We've been doing that with the chief for the past couple weeks. And in some instances, the committee is specific with information it wants. We have conversation with him, we ask him questions, and help him identify policies that should be reviewed. And he indicates to us some things that should be reviewed as well. And of course, his guidance in this area is very, sorry, I have a little one. His guidance is very beneficial to us. So far we've already identified a few actionable items, and they'll find their way into our committee's recommendations. And that's basically a rundown of what we've done in the past few weeks. So I do have a couple other members who are here with me, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
This is Neil. Do you have an idea of how many hours you might need the graduate assistant for?
I'm not positive about hours. We have discussed probably at least a day or two to review some of the statistics that the police department has on hand. So we did identify that much so far, but that's not the sum and total of it.
Neil, we may also get some information from some of the stakeholder groups that we meet with, well, that might need to be reviewed and analyzed and gone over as well. So there may be things coming over the transom that we don't generate, but might be generated by other groups, because I know that in some of the letters that have been sent to us requesting an audience, they've said they've done some research and so on and so forth. So I would assume we'd have to take a look at what they are presenting so that it's analyzed, reviewed, and fine tooth comb with everything else that we pull together. So
If
that
you
might
could,
add time.
no, so the town board's going to be talking about the budget over probably the next month, month and a half, maybe tops. And so if you could get us some more finalized numbers, it would be helpful.
Will do.
There's also, excuse me, more training. We're pretty much going to go through the 21 hours of training that the police are required to do annually, but we're also going to be looking at other training that they may be doing, or training that should be incorporated into their field of training. So not just the firearms and defensive tactics, but because that's not the 21 hours. There's a lot of state mandates, and so we're going to be going through those, and then suggesting also some other training that should be helpful to that department. And the chief, I'm glad to say that the chief is very open, willing, helpful. He's given us a lot of information to help us along the way.
Thanks.
This is David Brownstein. I just want to ask the committee, is there any concerns you're having about how your process is starting, or are you getting full cooperation, not only from the chief, which I'm glad to hear, but from any of the municipalities, departments that you need? Is there anything that you're not getting that you need?
No, thus
Yeah,
far,
yeah.
we've gotten full cooperation. Were you going to add something, Diana?
Yeah, there's a lot more outreach that we're going to be doing. So we haven't done all of that yet. So we hope that, it will be a joint effort, based on the executive order of everyone who's expected to participate in the process, in the big spectrum of the picture.
Yeah, just want to encourage really short feedback loops at any time you feel like you're not getting the cooperation that you need to. Please let us know. We want to make this process as easy for you as possible, and don't want to create any roadblocks in any way.
Thank you. That would be helpful. One thing, if we could just put it out there now, is as it gets colder and the weather changes, is there town space available that we would be able to use if it comes to a point? We are meeting in person, but we're a small group and we social distance. But as we move into the colder weather, is there any available space that we should be looking at?
I mean, we can find some space for you for sure.
Okay.
The community center, maybe?
Community center, the courthouse, so yeah, we have spaces. We're not having the normal programming in the community center right now, just because of COVID. So it's empty for the most part. certainly, especially now that the Y is meeting at Duzine and Lenape at the school program. So yeah, we certainly have space.
Great.
Anything else? If not, the county legislators, it's been requested that this also be on the joint agenda as a standing item. So I think I see Eve is here. If Jim's here, do either one of you have anything to add?
Well, so you probably know that the resolution regarding the sales tax agreement with the county in Kingston got a very small give. That's a tentative small give, but better than what we had before, where any amount in excess of the, I believe it was 2019 amount, will be considered in how to distribute it, including considering giving it to the towns and villages. So it's written pretty vaguely, but at least it's a little bit better than what they originally had there. There was a resolution on for the county to collect an added tax on real estate sales, but that was pulled to review a little bit more carefully. I think there's interest in what kinds of waivers there should be. So any feedback in the future, whether to, if people are in enhanced star or are doing green building, or, that there might be certain criteria of people that we would want to waiver from this type of tax. But the county is one of the few counties that doesn't collect it on a county level. And then other than that, I just say it's budget time. And so we'll be hearing this month all of our different program budgets. I'm sure some of you heard the executive's presentation today, but that's where we are. I don't have a lot to say on the budget yet because it's sort of just rolling out now. And that's about all.
This is Tim. I had a question about the county budget presentation. And Eve, thanks for trying to look out for New Paltz and all of those sales tax conversations that have been going on for months and months. I know that you've been trying to keep your finger on that situation, and it's greatly appreciated. But I had a question about the budget presentation from today. Was there anything noteworthy from a New Paltz perspective in that budget presentation?
I can't say that I feel like anything is noteworthy. Nothing specifically for towns. I mean, New Paltz specifically, or local municipalities. They were all very county focused. Obviously the infrastructure element incorporates municipalities because infrastructures exist in municipalities. But other than that, the big items tended to be more county level items. The mobile mental health, using money that will be saved from not adding on hires in the jail. The green, the green education that's enhanced at the community college is the same as you probably heard last year. I'm sorry, I'm just running through it to see if there's something I think of that feels municipality specific. Nothing really is jumping out at me as being an added benefit for the municipalities, except in that we're all part of a county.
Okay, thanks.
But just keep in mind, everyone, that this is his proposal, and then as we meet in committees, we all have the option of suggesting and considering other types of initiatives. So if there is something this is the time. You know, I don't serve on Public Works, which might have some relevance to New Paltz, but again, if there's something that you feel is relevant, this would be a good time to let your legislators know. I mean, not me, but the legislators that you can let me know, but also especially those who are serving on committees that might have a specific, specifically be addressing issues that might be important to you. Again, like Public Works.
All right. Anything else? If not, we will, we also have a kind of, I guess, the most recent update for the Henry Du Bois plan. There's an update on the website. There's going to be a public meeting regarding the project on Wednesday, October 7th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. You must register in order to attend the meeting. There's also a survey for participants to fill out in advance of the meeting. So we make sure we collected some data. The registration link and the survey are all on the town's website, and I think they're on this agenda too. So after registering, you're going to receive a confirmation email containing information about joining the webinar. So please come to the meeting next October 7th, 6 to 7:30. We want to hear from everyone. And that's it for the joint agenda part of the meeting. For the town, we have some executive session things to deal with. So if Tim, if you guys want to, yeah.
Can I just make two quick announcements just so they're
Yes.
described publicly? So we are going to do a flow test on 2 of the wells in the orchard south of our Cherry Hill tanks. So that's going to take place during the month of October. So over the last week or so, we've been trying to identify neighbors where we can put data loggers in their private wells, because we want to be able to monitor the impact and the sphere of influence near this well to see whether it could be pumped safely so it doesn't impact neighboring private wells. So that project is in the works. We were out there with our hydrogeologist and the gentleman from the consultant who will be putting data loggers in some of the private wells. So we're communicating with the neighbors. We're going to make sure stuff's in the paper. We're going to do some flyering, but we just want everyone to, in that neighborhood, not to make any adjustments at all in terms of how they use their water. So that's important to note, that it shouldn't impact how anyone lives day to day. But we're going to be, really careful and make sure that this pumping test doesn't impact any of the neighbors either. So that's announcement number 1. Announcement number 2 is the village. This is one of those things where we probably won't be able to, share this news too many times. We want to probably overshare it, in that we're going ahead and purchasing a property from Stewart's. This is the house at 5 Broadhead, and we're then going to be trying to identify developers who would be interested in restoring that property, because it was constructed in the mid 1800s by a black builder, and a black family lived and owned that property back in the mid 1800s. So we think it has some really interesting historical significance. So we're going to be trying to identify developers who want to restore it, and some of the proposals will be reviewed through that lens of how the developers will look to recognize the history of the property. But that's the upshot on that, and we'll have more details on that RFP coming soon. But we want to spread the word, because we would love to have a few or several proposals to consider. And that's all I had. If anyone had any questions, we can discuss it now, or follow up with us at a later date, but it'll be an ongoing conversation.
Okay. So I guess we have some personnel and litigation issues to discuss. So I would like to make a motion for the town board to go into executive session. And I am going to put everyone in the waiting room and then pause the recording and turn off the live stream. And then we'll go into executive session.
So Neil, before you do that, I'm going to motion that we adjourn the village portion of this meeting.
Smile.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Second, Neil?
Okay, great. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. So we're going to send everyone into the waiting room and let's see. So let's see, we have, I make sure I didn't put any town board members. So Dan, Julie, David, Alex, myself, we're all here. So I'm going to pause the recording now. I've now restarted the recording. I'm going to admit everyone back in to the meeting. And so everyone is back in the meeting now. The recording has begun. I would like to make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second, Alex?
All in favor?
Aye.
It's 7:53 for the record. And I would like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to settle the settlement agreement with UPSU on behalf of the board.
Second, Alex?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Let's see here. So I'd like to have a motion to approve items 2A through 2F on the consent agenda.
Second, David.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. And I would like to add Alex Demis, D-E-M-I-S, to the list of pool laborers helping to close it up, being paid at the standard pool labor rate.
Second, David.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. And so this last the item, I don't have my. I sent this last is the budget. I sent everyone an email earlier this afternoon. I'm not sure if people have gotten it, but we're working on. I have the tentative budget. It's in people's mailboxes. I've emailed you some copies. So it's a hard budget year this year. This year, our budget is roughly 12.3 million. We're actually spending 3% less this year than we did last year. Last year it was 12.6. It means we're spending $360,000 less this year than we spent last year. Sounds like great news, but the bad news is that the amount that we're raising from taxes is actually going up by 4.3%. And that's where the rubber hits the road. So our taxes are going to be going up by $450,000 total. As usual, the typical increases we see every year with healthcare, retirement. But really the main reason is that our revenue is down 29% this year. We have basically $744,000, close to $750,000 less in revenue. It's a pretty big decrease. We also have nothing to appropriate in the fund balance because revenues are down this year as well. So we have less that's left over. And state aid and everything else is going down. Sales tax has gone down. Some things have gone up, but for the most part, we don't have a lot of revenue and we don't have a lot of fund balance left over. So, if we want to make the tax cap, it's 1.56. We need to cut an additional $300,000 out of the budget. So I maybe we can do that. I'm open to any cuts that people have, but just to be safe, like every year, I'd like to pass the tax cap override law. We have we declare lead agency tonight. We can set the public hearing for 2 weeks from tonight. That gives us kind of a backup if we can't cut the $300,000 out. And so Gene and I, it was a hard one. Like I said, we've kind of cut everything. We can. I think a lot of the cuts that we made, we have to put some back in the coming years. But I think with COVID, a lot of uncertainty. I know Chris has requested a bunch of equipment, things like that. We've cut everything out. Pat, planning board secretary, is leaving. We turned that into a half-time position to save money. A bunch of the court clerks, we're not replacing them. Maybe in the future, if things get better, we can replace people. We had it down to 3.1%. Yesterday, we were told how much retirement is going up this year, I think for various reasons, but we had to add $160,000 back in yesterday, 10 minutes before I gave the budget to the clerk. So that's why we're up to 4.3. I'm disappointed. I was happier, but I'm open to any cuts. I think we can talk about it. I've sent you the cuts that we made. I think department heads are going to be unhappy with a lot of them. We didn't lay anyone off, but I think my preference is that any additions to the budget should be offset by layoffs. I know that sounds pretty scary to a lot of people, but I really think we have to consider layoffs if we're going to add to a budget of more than 4.3%. And I think that if COVID comes back and things get worse, we probably have to talk about layoffs. So we'll work on this together. I'm not thrilled, but hopefully we can get better at this and maybe find some cuts in there, but we'll see. So anyone have any? I don't really have anything in specific. I don't have the numbers in front of me other than that kind of a rough summary, but we can start talking about it if people want to, and keep going.
Neil, just a question. You discussed like making the tax cap, it would take another $300,000. Do you have a sense off the top of your head, or you're not ready to discuss it at this time? Like, where would we begin to start cutting those things? I'm sure you as you got to it, you were like, we got to keep this. What would be some of just a sense of what else would have to go?
I think we would have to look at layoffs. I mean, we've taken everything out. Like, we've cut things out that I know in, when things get better that, we just have to put back in. We've cut, and I want to have this budget as lean as possible in case things, maybe revenue will pick up and we'll be doing okay. But, we want to, like in the past, we've kind of lowered the fund balance. I really don't want to touch the fund balance this year because we don't know what's coming with COVID. It's a lot of uncertainty. I would like to cut spending as much as possible.
Can you just say also, Neil, like, where are the huge revenue shortfalls, just so that everyone in the community understands, like,
the court, normally the court is kind of revenue neutral for the most part, pays for itself with about, $350,000 coming in. That's, in the month of April, we made $10 in the court. Now, even now it's, that's probably down 2/3, so the court, maybe bail reform had something to do with that too. We didn't really take that into account last year when we did the budget, because it was kind of new at the last minute. But, I went to the courthouse last night, and it's all socially distanced, and there's fewer people in court every night. So there's, I think that's a big part of it. State aid has been cut by 20%. Our chips revenue is down. That's 20% of $161,000 is gone. Sales tax is probably down. I think, in the end, we don't have the final numbers yet. We're supposed to get them. In the beginning of the year, it was down a bunch. And Dan may have it from the county, but I think we can probably expect it to be down 10%. So we get 230,000. That's $23,000. Yeah, a lot. A lot of it was the court. Most of it was court.
I think we just want to be careful for next year as we assume revenues to really adjust those if they do have to do with bail reform also.
We were also much more, so our projected revenues are down. So we were much more realistic. We lowered those as well. And so we can talk about those if maybe we were overly cautious with them, but everything's so uncertain right now.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be sure we weren't, we could have a long discussion about those, but we're very conservative with those as well, because the fund balance is we don't have a lot in there, and this may last a year, it may last 2. So this is a very, very, very conservative budget this year. And so, with that, we have the resolution on the town website to declare lead agency. And so, with that, are people okay with us, setting the public hearing for the tax cap override law for the 2 weeks from now and declaring lead agency?
I am. I'll make that motion.
Okay, so yes, it's on the website, and so David's made a resolution to pass the resolution designated the town board as lead agency to review the environmental impacts of the proposed changes to the code of the town of New Paltz regarding the tax cap override law, and I will second that motion. If there's any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'd like to make a motion to set the public hearing for the proposed changes to the code. I'd like to set the public hearing for this local law for October 15th at 7 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's all we have for this evening. If anyone else has anything, if not, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second, Alex.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, guys.
You too.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.